Jim Tucker is our guest, definitely under government surveillance. He's been shot at before, at Bilderberg. I've had the feds come into my hotel and try to set me up for wanting to attack the State Department. In 2008, it did turn out that Hillary and Obama were at that meeting. His phone always works great at home till we call him for an interview, and his phone line was unintelligible. We've got him via cell phone. Jim Tucker is our guest now. We really appreciate him coming on with us. He's always been accurate in the past, when many others haven't been. But now we have identified where Bilderberg is in 2010. Bilderberg found in Spain. He's also found where the Trilateral Commission is meeting before that, and we'll find out if he knows what's on the agenda this year, and if the Bilderberg boys are mad that their global warming hoax that they plan to fund their world government is in so much trouble. Jim Tucker, good to have you with us.
It's a lot of fun as usual. Now, the Trilateral meeting comes first. That's Thursday, May 6th to Monday morning, May 10. And that will be in Dublin, Ireland. The jury is in, they're saying the Four Seasons Resort, which is a big snob place. And Bilderberg's meeting is a month later, as a typical fashion, from Thursday, June 3 until Monday morning, June 7. They're meeting in a little town called Sitges, Spain, Sitges, which is about 20 miles from Barcelona. And they're staying at the Aptamar Hotel, which is a big snob place. And, of course, we'll be there holding their hands for them. As far as their agenda is concerned, this year, heavy on their agenda this year, which is not at all unusual, unfortunately, is their intentions for Europeans and Americans to pay higher income taxes, significantly higher income taxes, because of their plan to level the world so that the third world countries' standard of living rises, the European and American standard of living drops until we're all poor together under their world government.
And so this is what you're getting from your inside sources. And for those that just joined us, Jim Tucker, for more than 30 years, has been exposing the highest level of the World Government Crime Council, the Bilderberg Group, 125 of the most powerful people in the world from Western Europe and North America, meeting in secret. And the information he's released years before things even happen from Bilderberg proves the fact that they are governing and controlling our planet to a very great extent. Now, a week ago, you revealed that they are going to push for raising our taxes to the level of France, basically, but to also suppress the third world, but lower us. And now that's mirrored by Bernanke saying we've all got to pay more taxes, Volcker saying we've got to have value added and carbon taxes, and all the services are being cut. Some police departments are firing half their cops, some sheriff's departments more than half. But the taxes go up like a third world nation. Everything goes to the bankers.
Yes, they manipulated the worldwide depression, and now they're exploiting it for their own selfish reasons. They intend to keep it going for at least until late in the year 2011, late next year, for their own purposes. And now we have Bernanke telling a private group of businessmen in Texas that these sources are difficult, quote, these sources are difficult. It always seems easier to put them off until the day they cannot be put off anymore. And he's saying that we've got to raise taxes and cut services. And he said that to a group of businessmen in Dallas, and their job is to be little messenger boys and go out and tell everybody in the world that we need to accept it. Americans get so hungry and so desperate they'll accept anything. But yet he and the other boys engineered the very financial crisis that they're exploiting, and everything's going according to their plan at this point.
Jim, what's it like for you to be laughed at for 20 years with the media saying Bilderberg didn't exist, and now the last 10 of that 30, now they admit open news, everyday world government, global constitution, private banks to rule the planet with a global banking constitution. I mean, now it's right out in the open.
Well, more so in Europe than in the United States, because the blackout remains with the major newspapers like the Washington Post, New York Times, LA Times, and Associated Press, and the broadcast networks. Now, there's been more exposure, as you've observed when you attended the meetings, by independent broadcast outlets like yourself, independent radio, TV stations, independent newspapers, not chain newspapers. And we had a lot of those reporters out in Chantilly and also a lot in Ontario. And anytime they're in the Western Hemisphere, that is Canada or United States, we get a great deal of reporting from these independent outlets, but not from the major newspapers, because they've all attended over the years, including the top networks, broadcast networks, a lifetime promise to reveal nothing, never even use the word Bilderberg.
Well, Jim, we're seeing a lot of top globalists now calling for censoring the web, ending net neutrality, and basically restricting free speech. England just passed a law. A lot of other nations are passing laws, Australia, Italy. Is that on their agenda? Because we see globalist spokesmen at Davos, kind of a public Bilderberg meeting, calling for this. What other intel are you getting from your sources is going to be on the agenda at Bilderberg 2010?
Well, as far as free speech is concerned, they've never had a First Amendment in Europe, and in fact, it's a crime to hurt somebody's feelings in, let's see, in the Netherlands and in England and in France and in Germany and other countries. It is a crime to hurt somebody's feelings. And of course, in our own country, on the First Amendment, I can say the most horrible things about you to you, but if it's not published by, if I'm not saying it to a third party or writing it to a third party, it's not libelous, it's not slanderous, because I've said it only to you. But they don't have that kind of, they never have had that kind of free thought in Europe. Oh, but you were asking more about the agenda this year.
Yes, go ahead. What else is on their agenda?
Even as we speak, so the International Monetary Fund, as we've played for, is still to evolve into the World Treasury Department. But they're laying down propaganda already. Unless we do something to fix our physical past policies that will tilt the curve downward, you'll see these problems come forward, says former Fed economist Michael Mussa to the Peterson, on April 8th, to the Peterson Institute for International Economics, in calling for a tax hike here in Europe. And we're hearing from a lot of characters. I'm fumbling with my notes even as we speak.
Well, while you dig around in your notes there, and again, Jim's been fighting these people forever. I mean, it's all over the BBC, London Guardian, Times of London. They say a planetary government with the IMF and World Bank as the global treasury, and the private banks will govern the planet. I mean, this is openly being announced, and they say we're going to raise all your taxes and cut your services, and now Bloomberg reports they're going to take everybody's pension funds and give it to the bankers. And if you don't like it, they'll just turn Northcom loose on you.
Yes, as I said, in Europe, there's a great deal of attention. The major newspapers for a lot of years. In fact, I think, as I've mentioned so many times before, it was about Helsinki, about 1980-something, and we had in Spotlight, the Band-Aid of American Free Press. We had the story early that year, their exact location. And we got letters from Europe saying, of course, our circulation is hardly wall-to-wall in Europe. It costs so much to send it mail. So one person tends to share his paper with 10 other people to help buy the subscription. So we got letters from leaders saying, should we alert the local media? And I said, yes. And when Kissinger and the other kids got off the airplane at Helsinki airport and headed for their limousines, they were stunned to see all those cameras and the reporters yelling questions. And the major newspapers in London and Paris and throughout Europe give heavy page one attention, photographs, stories, raising the same questions we always raise. And they're a great deal of help. We pool our information. We meet regularly every evening and identify. Well, you've been to those meetings. You know what we do. We identify as many people as we can.